One, two. All right, we are live. What is up, everybody, for the our final stream for the year, and it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one, everybody. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming out. We're joined by a special guest. You might know him as Luke Skywalker. You might know him as Deadpool. You might know him as Steph knows him as Danny. You might know him as Loki, Riddler. Who knows? We're joined by the legendary Seth Gamble, who's set to play the Batman in the upcoming Axel Braun parody. How are you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good, man. It's a little early, but I'm good. I feel good, man. You guys are my coffee this morning.
Nice. Well, you're our coffee too. It's 3 a.m. for us, so you're our coffee as well. All good.
Yeah, you guys are like not going to sleep yet, and I'm just like excited to wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nice.
You're on my old hours. Like I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like. So.
How was your Christmas?
Yeah. It was cool, man. Like, I originally was staying home, and I just stopped by a friend's house and said what's up, and they made some food, and it was real. People got each other like a little gift or whatever, gifts and stuff, and it was really basic.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what mine was.
But it was nice to see someone, see somebody. You know what I mean? It's like weird these days.
Where you are you in lockdown at the moment, Seth, or are you free to roam?
I'm free to roam. I'm not. I'm healthy and stuff like that. But the city of Los Angeles and state of California is pretty locked down. I mean, there's really not much going on. So,
yeah. All right, and we're joined by Lyndon as normal. How you doing, Lyndon?
How you doing, mate? Good.
That's as much as you'll probably talk tonight. And Rhino, how are you, sir?
Yeah, everybody knows how I'm going, but I'm doing all right. Other than that, we'll steer away from Star Wars news tonight. So it's all about Seth. It's all about Batman. It's all about DC. It's all about.
That was Luke Skywalker too.
Yeah.
We can talk about Star Wars.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We will go into a couple of things about those other ones that you've done, but yeah.
And Steph, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. All right, let's see who we got in here. So I see Doritos, Nightmare, our boy Fictopus. Biggles comes in with a $2 super chat straight away. He says, "Welcome to the full Aussie, Seth." Well, we're very, very excited to have him here.
I wasn't sure if this was the full Aussie Lethal. You didn't do your intro.
Yeah, I didn't do the intro. We just jumped right into it.
I wanted to do it, but he didn't.
Well, I can you do it? Because I kind of need to hear.
You want to see it? All right.
I want the intro. Yeah,
let's do it.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effing with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet-ass P-word. Beat it up, N-word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P-word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I want to ride. I do a Kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P-word is wet, come take a dive. And continue along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar. Don't trust China, China is SO. Don't trust China, China is SO. Don't trust China, SO. Trust China, China is SO. Don't trust China, China is SO. Don't trust China, SO. Don't trust China, China is SO. Don't trust China, China is SO. Don't trust China, SO. Trust China, SO. Trust China.
Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you.
There you have it.
Did that wake you up a bit?
There you have
That is funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Oh, that's good. A bit of everything all clang together with a bit of Australian humor to it. But welcome everybody. So, I guess we'll just jump right into it to start with a few simpler things. Seth, so how long have you been in the industry for?
I've been in the industry now. About 14 years, almost 15 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and like, when did you first start working with Axel? Because we've had him on, and he talked very, very highly of you. And
Yeah. That's we joke around. We call it, we're like BFFs. You know what I mean? It's like we've been friends a long time. That's like. I mean, you know, he's like a best friend, a mentor. You know, he's been there for me when like I was, getting my stuff together, which we'll get into. And but yeah, man, I remember, actually, it's so funny. I remember the first time I read for Axel Braun. That's an interesting story. So first time I met Axel Braun was 2009. I think it was 2009. And I got a call from my agent to go to this Hustler Studios. At the time he was directing for Hustler 2, and I go in there and I'm like, probably, I think I'd been in the business 2 years already, 2-3 years already in Florida. So I just came out to LA, and I get there and they're like, "We're doing a Saved by the Bell parody. Can you for that? we want you to play Zach Morris." And so I get there and he's like, "Oh my God," like, he's like, "Oh, he gets really excited." Like I didn't know him, but I was like, "Oh, this is great." And then what ended up happening was, he's so specific to the parts, but he like ended up finding this other kid who looked like him, and I didn't get that role. And I was like, I was a little bummed about it, but that was the first time I met him. And he was super stoked, and he just so much energy, man. I just knew I knew from the moment I met the guy. I was like, yo, I really want to like work with this guy. And but I think the first time that I'm trying to think, like the first time we'd actually like worked together was Star Wars. I think it was actually the first time we'd actually worked together, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been, I could be wrong though. It could be when I played Winter Soldier was probably might be the first time. I'm kind of, my memory's a little jogged of exactly, but I remember doing Winter Soldier, and that was a cool role. Like it was a quick, easy role. It was in and out, and everything went really well. And there was some stuff going on at the time where I was casted at as Robin in the original Batman. Like, and there was actually some political stuff that had happened behind the scenes, and I ended up not being able to do the part. And that like crushed me. I was like super crushed. I mean, he wanted me, we wanted it to happen, and I was crushed, man. I mean, as a younger performer, like I cared so much. I wanted to do everything, but like he wanted it was like it was gonna happen, and it just didn't happen. And then what it ended up happening was and full transparency, I went and read for Star Wars, and I was a complete mess. Like I'm hungover. This was like mid my addiction. I went in there hungover, and I sucked. Like I mean, there's no other better way to explain it. I sucked. Like I wasn't prepared. I didn't go in there. I was super nervous, and like this is a huge role. I mean, at the time, like Star Wars to this day is one of the number one selling DVD of all time. It's like the budget was like beyond anything porn related. And what was happening and that's really my first memory of working with Axel Braun. Like, you know, the Winter Soldier was like, you know, it was a quick in and out thing. But I remember what ended up happening is he was really bummed out about that. Like when I came to the casting and I like, you know, I wasn't on point. Like he was like, man, like I can't, you know, like I don't.
Do you know roughly what year that was? Like, because you've said your first sort of audition for him or your first reading for him was 2009. How long after that was Star Wars?
Well, so what ended up happening is he's also good friends at the time, one of my very good friends, and like we're still cool now, but was Dale DeBone. So Dale DeBone played the Batman, and Dale DeBone is the guy who he shot my first scene in ever, like in the history of my career.
Right.
You know, what ended up happening is, you know, I don't mean to backtrack, but I kind of have to backtrack to get the history of how I really kind of built a relationship with Axel. Was Dale was already an established porn star in his prime. Like he was, you know, a great actor, and like he had been a big star back in the day. He was the first Adam and Eve contract guy back in the day, and he started directing for Bang Bros in Florida, and that's when I shot my first scene and ended up like getting a contract out there in Florida. And, you know, he kind of gave me the basic rundown of how to do my job and all that other stuff. Cause he had already had experience, and obviously he was who was there, and I could listen to him. And, you know, we were really close friends, and he was there for me. I was very young. You know, I started the business when I was like 18 years old, 19 years old. And
wow.
So I needed some guidance. I didn't really have much growing up. So I had this person guiding me, and like, you know, he was a party guy himself. We were doing our thing and having a good time. But anyway, I came to LA. It was tough. You know, I didn't know anybody, and I was really young, and it was a different time in the industry. And Dale made a decision to make a comeback. And he ended up coming to LA and moving with me. And Axel was like gun ho on him playing Batman. You know, Batman XXX was like, it was huge at the time. Like, I mean, this Batman XXX was like the craziest, like it sold like insane numbers. And it was a huge deal back. I mean, it's still a huge deal. I mean, you look at it now, it's like, I mean, the way they did it was incredible. And, but yeah, Axel was like, this is the guy I need for this part, you know? And so through time, like he had been shooting Dale, like he did Batman, he did Elvis, he did, you know, he was doing these major, amazing roles, and they were doing some amazing work together. And so Dale was like, also pushing Axel to like, you know, they were like, Dale was like, yo, let's get Seth in some, you know, we want to get him as Robin. Cause like Dale already helped me at the time. So the Batman Robin dynamic would have been so great because of our relationship already, and then on camera and this whole thing. But anyway, so Dale came in for Star Wars to read for Han Solo and brought me to read for Skywalker, you know, and this was like this opportunity we were going to do. And I was a train wreck, you know, I was. And then what ended up happening is I didn't get the part. Someone else got the part. And that person, something happened. They had to pull out of the movie. And I got put in there. Like I ended up getting the role. Like it was the crazy. I was like, and there's actually people that were like really like not telling Axel like, this is not a good idea. Like this is a really bad idea. He can't play that part. Like they were like adamant on that I could not play Luke Skywalker. They were like, no one had known at the time what ability I had. They just were like, he's good, he can perform, and he's like jacked up, man. Like he's like he's a good looking guy, but he's like, you know, he can do his job, but he's like he parties like all the time. Like there's nothing, I had zero reliability. Like no one, and they also didn't know I could act. They were like, he can't act. Like what this guy, like people, dude, I like, and it was funny. So in the Star Wars XXX parody, there's a scene with me and Tom Byron, and this is the first scene I have to do off the jump. Like the first day, it's like a 9-page monologue conversation with this guy, right? And it's a conversation where I'm asking him like, how did my father die? You know, and he's like going back and forth, and then it's like this huge pivotal scene in this movie. And I did it in one take.
Knocked it out.
And the entire group, and Axel, you got to understand something. Axel had literally zero doubt in me. Like he was like, I know he's gonna kill it. Like he had no doubt.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like there were a lot of people on the crew who were like, yo, this kid cannot make this happen. And when I did that one take, it was like every doubt from everybody in the business in that moment was like, holy fucking shit. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, you
it was
did.
like- so it
You
was a
did
really
2
cool
years.
moment for me.
Sorry,
Huh?
you did 2 years of acting classes or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Was
But
that was well before that?
Huh?
That was well before all of this.
It wasn't well. It was pretty close after.
Okay.
So it was pretty close after. It was I did Star Wars pretty close after doing the schooling. I was actually still doing a little bit of it while I was in there, but like obviously I took a little bit of break because at the time when I did a little acting school, I actually slowed down the work process because I was like kind of trying to focus there, which was hilarious. I was actually partying during the process of doing that as well. Like so I was just like I was just one of those guys that like I could do the things, and like I was the type of person too was like if I had something really important I was doing or I felt I deemed important, I would dry out and I wouldn't like mess around. And then I would like reward myself after the fact.
Yeah.
So, but
Nice.
no, man, it was an amazing experience. And yeah, I did that. And then, yeah. And then after that we did Suicide Squad, XXX.
And you were Captain Boomerang.
I was Captain Boomerang. Yeah. One second, I'm gonna grab this water.
Yeah, sure, no worries. I'll catch up with the chat.
Playing an Aussie. That's cool.
Chris is here as well.
Well, yeah. So I played Captain Boomerang.
How's your accent?
It was really great at the time. I don't know if I can still do it. I actually hired a dialect coach. So what I did was,
Nice.
yeah. So what I did was I can do pretty much anything. Like if someone says stuff to me, like recently I just did I'm just giving you a recent example. Recently I just did a movie in Spanish. Like I spoke Spanish.
Oh, nice.
Right? I don't
You got
speak
Steph's
Spanish
attention there.
at all. Like I can understand it. I grew up in South Florida. There's a lot of Spanish being spoke, but I can't. I know a few words, but I couldn't actually like break a sentence and actually like have a full conversation with you. But if someone voice memoed the sentences, I can learn them off memory, and then say it with tone that would sound normal. So it would actually sound like I actually speak that language. So when I was doing Boomerang, I had this dialect coach and be like, crikey, you know, it was like really like it was so like it was like exactly what I needed to say and be like, you know, yeah, you gotta turn on the aircon. You know, it was like this weird.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Yeah, so like this was, I just learned the lines and how to say them with the dialect of what I felt was. Yeah, if you watch it, it's pretty. I don't even believe it's coming out of my mouth, to be honest. I'm like, what? I hope I did it justice, but no, it was great. I mean, it really came out really good.
It came out better than the mainstream one.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Wonder Woman last night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They all
Did
have.
you?
I haven't seen it.
I did. I watched it last night.
What did
What'd
you
you
think?
think?
Give it a grade.
I honestly dug it. I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it.
I'm not the only one.
Huh?
There
not
you
the
go,
only one.
Lethal, you're not the only one.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I really did. I thought it was. I really liked the vibe. And it's in the 80s. It's, how awesome is that? And honestly, a lot of people hated on this villain, but I really dug the villain. It was like a real life villain. I mean, this is like what we deal with in real life. Like people just obsessed with power and then like not realizing the consequences of it. You know, and it's like I thought the actual premise of like what they were attacking and coming after and like, you know, and just, you know, it was just I thought it was cool. Like I guess with these DC movies, you got to look at like the backstory more than look at especially with this one. It was like I looked more at the backstory than like the typical what you would look at. That gold suit was insane though.
The gold suit is
good.
beautiful. The gold suit
that
is
shit looked
beautiful.
crazy.
I mean, of everyone I've spoken to, I'm probably the most accepting of. I think it's got quite a number of issues, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
No, yeah,
But-
tons of. I mean, yeah, man, like it did. Like,
It was nothing compared to the first one. Like, I loved
first
the
one.
first one.
yeah, no, of course not. I don't. I think, man. Do you think DC? I don't know. I do you think DC's just like especially on this scale is like because what they're trying to appeal to? Do you think it's just maybe hard for them to like really? I mean, look how crazy Marvel was. Like Marvel, like I mean that up to Avengers, like it was just. I mean, you couldn't stop watching those. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they were great. You know.
I think they tried to. They did really well when they give directors they do really well when they let directors do
Their art.
their art.
Yeah.
But when it's not getting the response that they're expecting, they freak out and they just sort of switch gears and try to be like they just tried to be Marvel. And the fact that they tried to play catch up with Marvel, when Marvel like took a long time to build this a good fan base, a good sized fan base with so many movies up until Infinity War. They took the time, they took time to get there, and it felt like DC didn't want to take that time. We don't want to take time to do that. We just want to rush this. Let's get Men of Steel. Okay, we got Men of Steel. Now let's do BVS. BVS, we're going to get 2 heavy hitters instead of a lone Batman movie, which would have been awesome. And then we're going to bring in Wonder Woman.
Superman, you had a Batman, then you have BVS.
Right, and then now we're going to bring in Wonder Woman in this BVS movie instead of giving her own Wonder Woman movie. And then from there they went into Justice League. So it didn't feel not Justice League, sorry, Justice League.
Justice League.
Yeah. So it felt very rushed. It didn't feel like it felt like they were playing catch up. Even though I love those movies, it still felt like, okay, we have to catch up to where Marvel is at right now. And then I feel like with Wonder Woman, I feel like I feel incredibly grateful that we are getting Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I was telling the guys, like, if this movie was any indication of what DC was going to be and what their vision was moving forward, because it feels like a clear sequel to Joss Whedon's Justice League and not Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like the tone is really off for me. Then I'm incredibly grateful that we're getting like Zack Snyder's movie.
Myself and Seth, we were both very big on the release the Snyder Cut train. So we're just stoked that it's coming out. But yeah, I agree. It's very they're playing catch up, and DC I think needs to realize that their audience is different to Marvel's audience, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just appeal.
Well, it's also an older audience.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's more. I mean, I hate to admit this, but like I grew up more of a DC guy.
You're in the right place.
That was one of my questions. That was going to be one of my questions.
I mean, I did. Because I. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys.
You're right.
I actually. Yeah, I mean, I was it's interesting that I'm actually playing Batman right now, and because like I was a little kid making my dad wear like he used to wear this like red. Like Oxford shirt, and I'd like take him around the house like he was Robin, and I had like a Batman cape.
That's awesome.
I was like 3, you know what I mean? Like I've always like as a kid, like I wanted to be Batman. I always felt like this. It's weird, man. I've always had this like darkness in me. You know what I mean? Like there's always been this little darkness thing in me. So I was a huge Batman. I was obsessed with Batman. I loved Superman. There was something about those characters that were just like indestructible to me. Like they were just had this like, and I think the thing about Batman is like he was so badass that he didn't even need superpowers. You know what I mean? It was like this guy would just kick your ass, and like he would kick your ass with powers, and he'd be like, yeah, and you're like, I'm gonna throw a batarang at you, and like I'm so trained martial arts that like I'm gonna beat the living crap out of you. There was just something about it, man. It's the energy about it. There's, and it was, to me, it's the Coca-Cola Pepsi argument. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, they're both good. They're both amazing. But like that, it came
One's
first.
just that little bit better than the other.
Yeah, like, you know, Marvel's awesome, and like look, I love Marvel too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I played Iron Man and I played Deadpool, so I understand. I love Deadpool. Like, Deadpool's awesome, but that was also a character that I fell in love with later on. You know, so but yeah, there's just such a grittiness and darkness to the DC world, and I just love how all around it is, and like there's just so much to it, man. I don't know. I think it's just I don't think it's because of like general. I think it's just because I grew up with that. That's what I grew up with first, and I think that there's why there's more of a kinship for me.
Who's your favorite Batman?
Huh?
Yeah.
Who's my favorite Batman? Oh man.
Better say the right answer.
There's no right answer. There's no right answer, but there is a wrong answer.
Yeah.
There's actually yes. Okay. So I liked Michael Keaton as Batman, but I really liked Val Kilmer as Batman.
Nice. He is underrated.
I really thought Val Kilmer did an amazing job, and I obviously agree that he pulled out when he did because of like the way that he felt the role was being portrayed. I thought Val Kilmer was really great. I mean, look, you know, I think typically a lot of people like Christian Bale. I'm not. I kind of dug some of the stuff he did. You know, I'm choosing to make. I'm kind of choosing to morph the different parts of each Batman that I've kind of watched, like animated or you know, or movie wise, and just kind of like bring all the elements I know that I can bring, plus my own version of what I think Batman will look like. So I've been really doing a lot more research, and I definitely like Michael Keaton because Jack Nicholson's my favorite actor, so. You know, just that back and forth, and even Batman Return. I mean, it was just I don't know, man. It was just I just love that. Like,
do you have a Bale voice going, or do you have like a mix of different voices? You get
what's the Batman voice?
What's your Batman voice like?
What's my Batman voice like?
I'm Batman.
I would say it's a mixture between like depending on how angry I am, but it's more of like a whisper and like slightly growled, but I wouldn't say. It's not like the Christian Bale Batman. You know what I mean? It's like it's more like this. You know what I mean? It's like got like more of a whisper tone to it. I would say that I'm gonna go with that.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Like,
Well, being that you're a childhood, you're a big fan of Batman. Like coming into playing the Batman now, like is that like a dream come true sort of thing for you?
Yeah, it's actually crazy full circle because if we go back in the history, like originally we're supposed to play a Robin character, so now it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like full circle. The guy kind of found me in porn, played Batman, and I get to now play Batman. So
that's awesome.
It's like it's this cool thing, and like it's just crazy. Like me and Axel together, there's some symbiotic thing about it, you know what I mean? Where we just kind of like when we work together, it's like, it's just something we just have it's something special, man. So,
how do you feel about the upcoming Robert Pattinson Batman?
I feel like I'm gonna do a better job.
Really?
Well done.
Wow.
Well done, sir.
That's the correct answer, I guess. me and Steph, we're both we're pretty looking forward to the Robert Pattinson Batman, but that was like the perfect answer.
It really was, yeah.
Right. Beautifully said. What's it been like getting the costume together? I know that Axel's very much into his costumes and he makes sure that he gets them right. Like I know Steph's very interested in your cowl. So
the cowl, yeah, we saw that you got fitted.
Pretty,
for the cowl.
It's starting to come together pretty amazingly. I'm actually pretty excited about it.
So that's you.
That is me.
Yeah,
I was in that thing for 3 hours.
That looks annoying.
Yeah. Do you get claustrophobic in that?
I will have to say that I meditated. At first, it was like this. I meditated for that amount of time. Like I meditate. Like I do my best to do it every day. I'm not perfect at it, but I do it pretty often. And meditating in that costume or that cover
mold,
what was able to make me kind of. I just, when you're meditating, you're not like feeding into your thinking. So I just didn't think about being scared. I mean, at first I was like, wow, this is scary. Or like, this is really uncomfortable. And like, I would just be like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to think. You know what I mean? I just kind of like kept like not believing what I was thinking. And I just kept like, thinking about the way I was breathing. And I didn't really, which I couldn't do much of either, but I just stayed in that, I stayed in that headspace and just went through it. And it wasn't like as bad as I think, in a normal circumstance, a lot of people would be really freaked out to be in that thing for 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
I would be freaked out. It just
Yeah.
And I would get bored right away too. Get really impatient. Like, how long is this going to take?
Well,
is your cowl made?
It's not fully done yet, but the shape of it's made, which is like, I mean, I don't think you're ever seen anything like it, to be honest with you.
Ooh, that's exciting. Are you going to do you get to keep it?
I mean, I'm sure if I'm like, hey, Axel, can I borrow that thing? I don't think you have a problem with it, but I don't really tend to keep his costumes. So, like, or, just like in case, like, there's some crime at night, I might want to run out. I don't know, man. I might want to protect some.
That's funny.
I mean, truthfully, if you hear any weird superheroes are running around saving people's lives, I mean, it could be me. So I don't know. We can't say for sure.
Yeah, no one's ever seen you and Batman in the same place.
That is very true.
Insane.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
But what's interesting about this isn't a movie. This is a series.
Yeah, it is.
What advantages does that offer, you reckon? Yeah, this is a series.
Yeah, so I would say the advantages is, number one, we'll have room to continue it. It doesn't have to really end if we don't want it to. And there's so much room for us to play with it, so basically, rather it being I would say, like, usually an adult film is about, probably with the scenes too, it's about usually like run time's about 4.5 hours because of the scenes, like 4.5, 5 hours or whatever. But now we're doing a series, so it's probably double the amount of time because of the episodes and stuff like that. And for the first series of it, and I think it's cool. It really gives us room to really play with the story a little more. And then,
have you seen all of the script?
I can't say.
No comment.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now, there was another thing I was going to bring up. There's been a few casting announcements, including yourself. First of all, we know Huntress is going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like way better casting than the mainstream Huntress.
I know.
It actually looks like Huntress for starters. How do you feel about some of the casting that's happening?
I think it's all very well done. I think the people that are the two women that have been cast so far are, very talented, and they're beautiful, and I think they're really passionate about doing really cool roles and having fun and doing it to the best of their ability. And I couldn't be happier with the casting. So
we should reach out to her. We should get Huntress on sometime. I'm a big Huntress fan. I reckon she's criminally underrated.
Yeah.
And then of course we have Kenzie as Harley, which is interesting because when she was on here, we asked her, said, "What's your dream character?" And she said Harley. So dream come true.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it's amazing. I'm really excited for her. She's really come a long way, and she's really become a really good actress. She's done really well. She really did an amazing job in Captain Marvel. So
she really did.
I'm excited to see. She's a hard worker, and she is like her biggest critic, and she will come in there and she will deliver the most she possibly can. That's just how. I don't take any credit. I think I might have rubbed off on her a little bit because I'm like a little intense, but so is she. So I mean, I'm definitely excited to see her portrayal of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, me too.
since Axel has already done Suicide Squad, and is he going to be taking the Birds of Prey costumes and kind of like, I don't know, I want to say making fun of them a little bit, making them look a lot more.
Well, he's going to his costume
really nice.
Like his costume.
Oh yeah, like a lot more form-fitting and beautiful.
There's literally like, insanely enough, man. There's literally like, super, comic fans that are like on the Axel train of, these are like costumes. Like why are he designing the costumes?
Yeah, his costumes are amazing.
But yeah, because he's comic accurate, and he loves the comics, and he has like he has this like real big passion for it, and it's important to him. Like, I think the one thing we share, like, which is a lot of things, and why we're so close as friends as well, is we just attention to detail is important. You know what I mean? Those are things that people pay attention to, and this is what makes things good and what makes things average. And I think that with mainstream, they're trying to like think so outside of the box of like, and that they, there's that expression like there's less is more in certain aspects, and sometimes less means like being more accurate to like what people feel makes the character seem more realistic to their mind, what the comic book would have been if it wasn't, because it's making a comic book real live action. So you got to like somehow have this teetering between of what can be real life and what is real life to comic book fans, and because that's the majority fan base. So yeah, I mean that's
good. What did you go on, Rhino?
I was just going to ask, what's been despite the Batman, because I think that, like we said before, that's sort of your dream role. What's been your favorite role to actually play out of all the parodies that you've done? I'm just curious.
Probably Deadpool. You know what I mean? Like, I just really feel that, people were like confused when I played that role. Ryan Reynolds in that costume. They were like real confused. Like they were like, I'm not like can't be this other person. Like I swear to God. But it was fun, man. Like I just got to be like, I basically got to be myself when I was drunk. It's like really good. You know what I mean? Like just not give a shit. I don't want to curse, but
you can swear as much as you fucking want.
Not give a fuck like what came out of my mouth, how I said it. Like, I could really just, it to me, it's like being very, I talk with my hands like in general. So yeah, I had to calm that down in LA. People get like really nervous about that, but like, you know what I mean? Like I'm East Coast, so like it's, you talk with your hands and you're very animated. Like it's just, it was just fun, and look, I really loved playing Danny Zuko too. I'm not gonna lie, but like I played every Travolta movie. Like I wasn't just Danny Zuko. I was in Saturday Night Fever. I was in Urban Cowboy. I was in Welcome Back, Connor. I was in, I did.
You've done them all.
I did them all. Like anything Travolta based, I did, and it's because of this stupid chin. But, it's fucking. I could like, probably Q-tip it. Like it's like I had that same fucking thing in my chin, and yeah. So those two would probably be the most fun, I would say. But I did so many, man. Like I can't even pick. Like I was Justin Bieber. Which was crazy. Like we had like no budget, and we named it like Justin Bieber Fever. And like they were like, okay, Seth, just like do you, and like I just made it look like. I just made it like my own, and it was like this. I was just acting like a complete jackass, and like it ended up like selling. For the amount of money we had to make the movie, we ended up selling like so many copies of this movie that was like, just like it was a throwaway. Like it was like, and then I played Harry Potter, and then I got death threats for that. Like
no way, did you really?
Yeah, because it was like it was called Harry Twatter, and it was like crazy. Like that was crazy, and then like so
why? What were people so pissed off about? Was it just because you were playing Harry Potter and you put Harry Potter into a porn parody?
Harry Potter,
right?
Know?
Yeah,
this is like I had like supposed people that were Voldemort saying they were gonna come kill me and shit. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And it was like I was like, how did you get my email address? Like I'm super confused and like, you know, it was
Wow.
so I had some interesting situations with all this stuff, you know, and then yeah, but yeah, Deadpool was my favorite character to play. It was like,
Nice.
and plus it was the most, you know, I was coming up on, you know, I was in probably a year plus sober at the time, and I just finally coming into my own as a person a little more, and it was just like it meant more, you know. It just had it had more meaning behind it. It just, you know, a lot of my other roles, like I was this like talented guy that like could like pretty much do anything, but like I just didn't take anything seriously enough, and I just kind of like was able to do it, and it was like this old expression of like wasting talent and wasting ability because I just cared too much about being a rock star. You know? So,
have you ever had any mainstream people reach out to you and be like, that was awesome? Axel was telling us it's happened to him, but he can't divulge names.
Yeah, I'm not going to say names, but I've had people say stuff.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
That's
How does it make you feel?
Yeah.
It makes me feel good. You know, it does. I mean, there's really no other way to explain it. It makes me feel good. Like I you know, it's good to hear that they can appreciate someone that's playing them in a triple X film, especially with the idea of our abilities as actors in our industry isn't ideal. It's like they don't really look at us and go like, wow, you know what I mean? That's some real that's some real
talent you got there. Yeah. Speaking of awards, you've actually won a couple of awards. You went back to back, and didn't you win something about best leading actor twice in a row or something? And then you've
I won best leading actor twice in a row, and then this year actually I won best actor for every single award show.
Wow!
Yay!
Like
congratulations!
Like every award show this year I won best actor. So I won best actor, AVN, XBiz, XOCO, Night Moves. They were the four that there are, and I won every single one. So
fantastic! Really congratulations! That's really well done. You also won when you first got in. You also won new best upcoming.
Yeah, best newcomer.
Yeah, that was really cool too.
Yeah, that's cool. Yep. And then I won XBiz last year. I won Male Performer of the Year for XBiz, so that was a really big deal for me. I was really stoked about that. And you know, right now, I want the AVN Male Performer of the Year award. That's the one that I'm really seeking after. I don't care how long it fucking takes. I'm gonna come in.
Is that like in your industry? Is that the big award?
Yeah, that's like the major prize as a male performer. I mean, that's what I do. You know. And I've always been this guy that's been very versatile. So I really try to deliver really intense, hard, crazy, you know, no matter what the circumstances, I try to like give that like really intense performance, whether it's like a romance or hardcore or whatever it is. So I want to really, I'm a versatile guy. And I think that a performer of the year, just the word itself states versatility. And I just want that, you know. Something that I seek after, even if I don't get it. You know, the chase is the fun part.
Do you have any like aspirations or ideas of going into like Hollywood movies?
You know, it's funny. Like I've been hearing that a lot lately, and I think that I just need to get the willingness to really just put myself out there enough to start doing it. It's really what it comes down to.
Well, a lot of that comes because, like, you know, we're talking about the talent before. Brie Larson was fucking shit. But Kenzie Taylor was amazing. It's like Kenzie took a character that's actually not that well liked and made it likable. So there's that type of stuff, you know, where it's like, just get her to do the real one, you know.
Well, it's also like your Deadpool was very, very good. Like, you know, that some of the things that I've seen of you have been very, very good. And I was actually thinking the same thing as Lyndon in regards to, like, you know, this guy could do something other than porn. Not that you necessarily would want to, I don't know, but
no, yeah, I mean, I would.
You're very talented.
Thank you. I definitely would. I think I would. It's, you know, I think I've been holding myself back is more the best way to explain it. I just been like, it's nice to it's comfortable here. So
yeah.
Like, you know, at the end of the day, I got to get uncomfortable and just start, you know, pushing the barrel. And I think there was this other part of me that, like, you know, which I stopped identifying as, was like, what's the typical guy comes to guy or girl comes to California to like be a big movie star and all this other stuff. And I just was like, you know, you wait in line at an audition and it's like 50 guys that look just like you. And you're just like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So,
what was it that initially made you want to get into the industry? Like, how did it all come
It
apart?
wasn't like an initial, I want to get in the industry. It was more like, I was just, to be honest, I was the guy that was I was doing a lot of drugs and I was drinking and I got myself in a lot of trouble. Like I was getting myself in like legal trouble. And, I ended up like not doing well financially. I was just really, you know, I was, you know, burning the candle at both ends, man. And like, I was, you know, at the time, like I was living out of my car and I really hit like a really low spot in life. And I just ended up like doing it and being good at it. And it happened. And I was like, I like this. You know what I mean? I was like, you know, I was always hypersexual. I loved like always like girls. Like I was always into like, you know, I probably started younger than I should have. And I just felt that, you know, when I got there, I was like, you know, I felt like, oh man, I think I could do this, do it pretty well, do it successfally. So I just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah,
It wasn't like this aspiration in life though.
Yeah. Sure. Did you take it seriously since like from the beginning? Or was it kind of like, oh, sweet at the beginning? No, and then you were like, okay, this could be a real thing.
No, well, no, I just kind of like, once I do something, I'm like, I get like obsessive. That's kind of where the drug addiction comes in. So it's like anything I do, like I kind of like, I go in full force. There's no like joking with me. And like, plus I'd already been explained to me at the time that like, once you do this, there's really no going anywhere else. Like you got to commit to this. Like you can't, you know, when I first did my first scene for Bang Bros, I remember I did a scene, it was called Chow Dong, and it was with Diamond Fox. And it was this like MILF scene. And like at the time I looked like an underage kid. I wasn't. I mean, I had IDs, so just to clarify, I was not underage.
Just to clarify.
And this somehow sold a lot of like it was really a big popular thing. So it ended up getting like millions of views like within like a week. So it was like this weird thing that I ended up contracting me because of this. And what ended up happening is like, you know, it just at the time it was like this career that it wasn't as acceptable as it is now. So like there was this once you committed to it, you kind of had to be like, okay, this is like, I'm committing to this, and like let's hopefully we could get out of this at one point in our lives when where we're not like struggling people, you know what I mean? Like where we have like something to walk away with, you know what I mean? And like that was kind of like my mindset on it. And it was like, I enjoy it. So, and I love being on set. I love that whole environment. And yeah, so that was basically the end of it. Like it was just, yeah.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the men's health stuff and the addiction, I suppose, and how you went with that? Like when did that sort of hit, and how did you sort of get through that?
So okay, that's about. So basically,
sorry, I know it's a very general question, but
no,
you know,
basically, the way I look at this is like addiction, alcoholism is a disease. It's like a mental illness. It's a brain disorder. It's something that you're born with. Like you have, it's the way it's been explained scientifically. It's something that you kind of have. It's like, you know, and I think the confusing part about it is there are people that are problem drinkers. There are people that are problem users. So like it's hard to differentiate the two. And it's not like it's not really something someone can diagnose you with. Like you can't be like someone can't literally tell you you're a drug addict or an alcoholic. It's not something that they can tell you. This is something that you have to like basically concede to and understand. And by conceding to and understanding is basically admitting that you're powerless over it, and you know, and basically like doing this thing will like, you know, which is, you know, in the 12-step guide is like your life's unmanageable, like everything in your life's unmanageable. But like, you know, for me, you know, I can relate addiction to me as a child being I loved sports, and I loved, and I would pretty much go any lengths for anything. Like, I'll give you an example, not sports, but like collecting things. Like, I loved collecting sports cards and pogs, and I loved collecting, you know, WWE wrestlers, and I loved collecting comic books. And like, but the thing about it is I was so obsessed with it that if I saw another kid that had the card or the pog or the thing I wanted, I would manipulate or get their thing from them no matter what cost, because I was so obsessed with having the thing I needed. Right.
Yeah.
So the best way to explain, like,
you had the addictive personality sort of thing.
Yeah,
everything becomes an addiction.
It was this thing in my brain that like was like, okay, so it's basically the way to explain it is like addiction's like you're driving across a country, and how it feels to be an addict is you're driving across the country and you have to take a piss and you can't take a piss. Like, you can't pee, but you need to pee, and this is how you feel all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, imagine just like being stuck having to pee, but you can't go. So that's the amount of uncomfortability you live with, like every single day, right? So basically, I went through my life, and like, you know, I got on, you know, I mean, I dabbled in, you know, a lot of different things, you know, but mainly I was a drinker, and I did a little, like, you know, I did some nose candy stuff, and that was like kind of my go-to for years. I'll be, you know, general about it, whatever. And yeah, man, like, it was a lot of fun for a long time. Like, I had a lot of fun. Like, I liked partying, I liked the lifestyle, like the rock star lifestyle, whatever. But I was burning everything to the ground. Like, I never took anything seriously. Like, I put my life on the side burners or whatever it was. And in 2016, I'd hit like a version of like my own bottom, where I was at an award show, and I got so messed up that I was like trying to jump off the stratosphere without being tied in. And I was like ready to die. I was ready to go. Like, I was burnt the fuck out. Like, I was just, I put myself in a situation where I just, like, I didn't want to be here anymore. And what ended up happening is that next day, a girl was in a room with me, and she's like bathing me in a cold tub and making sure, because I was like overheating. And I actually did. What ended up happening is like, you know, you'd think at that point, you're like, I'm driving home, like, I'm throwing up on the drive home, like, I'm jacked up, like, everything's messed up. And like, I went back and I went to like a meeting, and I was like, oh my God, like, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm seriously done. My life's like, I was so messed up. And yeah, how it works is you know, things about addicts is we have really bad memories. So about 2 months later, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to smoke a little weed. I'll be fine. Well, 11 months later, I OD'd on my bedroom floor, you know? So, you know, and from that moment, at that moment, I was like on the floor, and I was like, I need to go to rehab. And, you know, Kenzie Taylor at the time, she was, you know, we were together, and she, you know, she helped me get into rehab, and, you know, my agent at the time, and like, I went in, and I think a week later is when, like, I was in detox. I was detoxing, because at the time, like, by the end, I had like a liter a day and an 8-ball a day habit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so it was like that gnarly.
Wow.
And, yeah, and I was in rehab in about a week. A week went by, about 7 or 8 days went by, and I finally like kind of detoxed enough to where like pretty much 14 years of off and on just abuse to myself, and the things that I've done, the mistakes that I made, and the guilt and the shame and the fear and the resentments and all the things, they all came to me in one moment. Like, I was like by a bed, and it was like all this stuff. It was like almost like that weird thing when like people die and they see their life. But it was like this kind of moment happened to me, and I was so scared. I was scared, more scared, and like freaked out than I'd ever been in my entire life. And I got down on my knees, and I was like, I don't know what's out there, but like, please just make this fucking stop. Like, please make this stop. And at that point, I got desperate, and I got willing, and I basically, in a nutshell, like, you know, I work a 12-step program, and I do a lot of like service work and stuff like that. And I I made a decision right there, and like, it's just a weird expression, but I decided to drink the Kool-Aid. Like, I stopped believing anything that I stopped believing my own thinking, and I decided to like really be directed by people who like knew more than me about everything. And it humbled me and made me, I think it makes me a better man, and it saved my life. And every day I'm, super grateful for that. And going through life, it's like, life isn't always up. It's not always up, there's ups and downs, and like, you're constantly being in sobriety. It's like, I have to deal with everything without anything helping me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what makes it tough sometimes, is like, I don't have like the tool of like going home and having a nice cap off, or, I can't, and there's no Xanax for me. If if I have anxiety, it's like, I have to do a lot more footwork. And I don't, obviously it's hard to explain, but like the amount of footwork I do on a day-to-day basis to keep myself continuously growing and changing is a lot. And I do it willingly, and I do it happily. And I get to help a lot of other people, and I'm grateful for that, and it's been pretty much what, like, on a basic conversation, that's pretty much like somewhat the journey I've been on. So
have you found that, sorry, go on.
Oh, so you've had people that have reached out to you to get help from you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the time. I help people. That's like that's like the most important thing in my life.
Because we did a bit of research before this one, and that was one thing we all noticed pretty quickly, was you're very open with talking about that stuff.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I don't identify as that anymore. So it's I still identify as an alcoholic and a drug addict. I'll always be an alcoholic and a drug addict. Like, there's no, that doesn't go away. Unfortunately, anybody out there struggling with this, unfortunately, it doesn't go away.
Yeah,
always that little thing in my brain is doing push-ups every single day. Like, come on, man, we're there. Come on, we can.
Yeah.
You can do one. It's fine.
What were you going to say, Ronnie?
I was just going to say that's a pretty massive turning point. I mean, some people find that turning point a bit sooner than obviously ODing on your bedroom floor. I mean, that's a pretty crazy situation to sort of be in.
So let me just give you like a perfect example though of like, okay, so I OD'd in my bedroom floor, and like, this is how you know an addict, right? I OD'd on my bedroom floor. They find me a rehab. I still had enough cocaine left, so I went and sniffed the rest after I OD'd, because I'm such a drug addict. Like, that's how bad it is. It's like, there's no lengths that an addict in addiction won't go, and it's not their fault. It's a literal disease. So like, they won't go, like, ruin relationships, ruin their careers, ruin everything, hurt people around them unknowingly, thinking they're not hurting anybody but themselves. And they can't stop. And you get to a point where you can't. It's there. But I think the scary part about it is addiction. This is the best way I can explain addiction. It's not that when I drink, I'm going to drink the entire bottle that night. It's not that when I do drugs, I'm going to do all the drugs that night. It's that when I pick up one drug or one drink, I don't know or have control of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's the scary part.
It just keeps going.
So if one night I have 2 drinks, my mind tells me, you don't have a problem. You had 2 drinks last night. You can still have 2 drinks tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't have control. So the next night, that shit might not go down that way. So it's not like a normal person who would go out and be like, hey, let me have a glass of wine and with dinner and it's all good. And like, then not think about it for 2 weeks. Like, my brain doesn't work that way. So it's just accepting that and understanding that. And like, and also the flip side of it, there's somewhat of a superpower to being an addict, because like, the things I can accomplish because of my intensity of the way that I perceive and do things, if I gauge it properly, I mean, my life everything's more like, it's bigger, so it's just the way that my brain is. So, but yeah.
I was going to say, since you've been sober and clean, has your performances and things like, have you noticed a difference in yourself, I suppose? I mean, you would have. But...
Yeah, I ended up winning a
you would hope so.
Award, 2 Best Actor awards. My entire reputation has changed. Personally, I've just changed as a person. Like, I don't think I've changed as a person. I think I reverted back to what the inner child in me was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm this like angry, resentful, irritated, you know,
Me.
built up, bitter person that I was. I think it still could go there. Like I can still go there, but at the end of the day, like I have tools now where I know where to like, I can just refocus and live in gratitude. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't consider, I'm not a religious person by any means, but I would consider myself a spiritual person. So I think having some spirituality is important. And it's tough, like, you know, especially in this year of COVID that we're in, like, you know, anybody even staying sober for a week right now is a freaking hero to me. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I had every excuse in the book to relapse now. You know, the world looks like shit.
I suppose one more thing on, sorry, Steph, one more thing on this. Do you have any advice for anyone out there that might be listening to this that may have gone through that or is going through that, and any supporting advice that you could give to them, I suppose?
Yeah, I would say be gentle with yourself. You know, we tend to beat ourselves up, so let's stop doing that. I would say that you can't, from my own experience, I couldn't do this alone. I can't really give advice. I can speak from my own experience. I can't do this alone. I need support. I would reach out to people. I would get vulnerable. I would get honest and get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that's the best advice I can get, man. Like I think in a basic way, and like, and no matter what it is, a 12-step program, therapy, do whatever works for you. And just, you know, honestly, it's super cliche, but like life's a day at a time, man. And sometimes it's a minute at a time, and sometimes it's a second at a time, and sometimes it's an hour at a time. And like, take it easy. You know what I mean? Getting through any moment in time, like by default, here's the thing. By default, an addict is supposed to be fucked up. Like I'm supposed to be fucked up right now. So in general, if you're sober for one day, you're a fucking miracle. So
yeah, you're accomplishing
remember
something.
that. You're a fucking miracle, because at the end of the day, like in reality, I should be fucked up right now. You can't be mad at yourself for being fucked up if you're a drug addict, because you're supposed to be. So you got to just, if you can get a day, and each day you can look at it as a miracle in yourself, and you can start helping other people because you learned some stuff from this, it'll change your life.
You mentioned that, you know, you can't do it by yourself. You need help and a team. And you also said that Kenzie helped you get into rehab.
Which it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because, like, you know, she was on there getting me, you know, helping me at the time, you know, and what ended up happening was about 9 months later, she realized she had this problem too, and she ended up getting sober. So, you know, because of me being sober, it pulled out some stuff with her, but that's really not my business to share. I think she would be more apt to share about it. But yeah, she's sober too. She just, actually, I'm super proud of her. She just got 3 years sober, and it's miraculous, man. Like, I've seen her grow so much, and it's amazing, you know.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. When she was on here, we were all like, this is the best person ever.
How important is that to have that community and to have people around you to help, that support system? How important is that to you?
To me, it's the most important thing. Like, you need the community. You need it. You need to, like, because the fact is like, I live with perpetual mindset of I'm not enough, and no one knows me. Right. So that if I can find a community, and for me, it's like, I need like a brotherhood, right? It gets a little twisted when you're unfortunately it gets a little morphed when you kind of, I don't know, the way that it's set up, it's like, you know, men help men, women help women. It's kind of like this, you know, whatever I know we're in a generation now where we don't gender identify. I'm just saying whatever you're into. Like, I mean, seriously, I'm trying to maneuver and understand that, and it is what it is. But what I mean is like, we try to find people that are like-minded, and we can like be vulnerable with. So like, it's so good to have those people to be vulnerable with, and people who can be vulnerable with you, you know. And what ends up happening is when you like, if you're especially in a support system where you're working a 12-step program, once you work these 12 steps, you get to help other people and take them through these 12 steps, which you end up learning more stuff about yourself by taking other people through them. So you end up like growing more. And it's just like this ongoing process of like always being able to be vulnerable and sharing. So you're never really locking yourself into like what your self thinks. Because if I spent years basically listening to myself, and like that didn't work. So I have to, like, you know, we have this funny expression. It's like, if I start listening to myself, I'm listening to an idiot. So I just don't listen to myself anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and now myself has more tools. So my thinking is intuitive now more than it was, because I have sound thinking now. But at one point I was insane. So when I feel that form of insanity come around sometimes, especially when I'm going through something hard that I'm dealing with and I'm uncomfortable, or like I'm not present, I need to call someone else and ask them on an outside perspective what's going on, and we get to talk about stuff, and then I get to shift my perspective, where I feel like not even just addicts, people need support, you know, and it's hard because we're also in a society where people don't like getting vulnerable. They think it's a weakness, you know what I mean? And I find vulnerability to be strength. So.
And do you think that that's that mindset that you just mentioned, where you thought for a really long time that you weren't enough, that nothing's good, do you think that's what's holding you back from going into Hollywood, like that?
I think that's held me back for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
think it has. I don't think at this point I feel that way as much, and I think that's going to be a goal of mine. And I think that's something I know it's something I'm going to go for, and I'm going to do everything I can to achieve. But I think for years too, like, you got to realize, like, I'm coming up on 4 years sober. I was still learning myself these last few years. Like, the first year was like getting through a first year and being uncomfortable. The second year was like, holy shit, I'm sober now. Like, what's next? And then the third year was COVID. So like, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just this interest. And then the cool thing about COVID was, I'll say on a positive for me, was I got to get so introspective, and I got to, like, really, like, get really uncomfortable and really, really dig deeper into myself, and like other things I deal with other than addiction. Like, you know, just the way that I look at things, like the fact that I don't feel good enough. Why don't I feel good enough? Well, because I cared what other people thought about me. Like, by the end of the day, like, I need to only be authentic and care about what I think of me, you know, and that's something I started learning and having to deal with. And, you know, the 4 Agreements has been a book that is, like, I mean, God, I love that book. I mean, it's changed my life too. You know, I love certain books that really just stick out to me, and that's definitely one of them. You know, also, like, Abraham Hicks and Wayne Dyer and these people, like, they're like mentors to me that I look at, you know, like, people that, you know, this idea of you are what you focus on, you know, and what you focus on work. I mean, it's the law of attraction, you know, and just being able to really look at what's working in your life, you know. And if I constantly focus on what's working in my life works better. It's just the way it kind of goes. Perception is key to anything. And I think that when you really get in a groove of that, neuroplasticity is a scientific thing that proves that you can retrain your brain and change the way that you perceive the world, you know. And it just takes a lot of work. So
nice.
I like it.
You're putting in the work, so
congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
That's
like
amazing.
That is great.
It is.
It's just an amazing story. Like, it's not every day you hear that somebody sort of went through this period of ODing on their bedroom floor and, you know, coming out the other end of it and coming out as well as you have. And, you know, it's a good story in the end, like, you know, and it's one that I think that a lot of people out there that are going through similar things, it definitely helps them. I find, you know, seeing somebody like yourself be able to come out the other end of it. And
I bet when you were going through it, you weren't thinking in just a few years you'd be fucking Batman of all people.
No. When I was going through it, I mean, I didn't even know how to not look at the future or the past. I was like, where am I? You know,
what have you done? Have you done anything? Because you do quite a bit of research before your roles, and, you know, you like to get into and all that stuff. How is going into Batman different?
Well, it's kind of similar to going into Deadpool, right? So, like, Axel has this way of putting me in movies that are already good. So, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm sorry, I have to say this because it's just the truth. Like, a lot of these movies that he's been parodying, like, the real versions aren't good. So,
yeah, like, Captain Marvel.
And like when he parodies them, like we have this ability to really like make them great, right? So you're having me parody Deadpool, and like this movie's like everybody loves it. So like the expectations of like what I have to bring are insane. And then also the expectations of what they think the Batman is with Robert Pattinson are good. Like people are like, this is gonna be good. You know what I mean? They're really excited about it. So it just motivates me more. It just motivates me more to really, you know, make it special, you know, and so it's one of those things.
I don't know if you can speak about it, but or if you can talk about it or anything like that. But in the Batman, there's going to be the Riddler, and they're going to have Catwoman. Are they going to make appearances in the Batman?
I guess we'll have to find out. I mean,
yeah.
Are you going to have a vehicle?
I think we'll have to find out.
I was going to ask.
Look, this is an Axel Braun production. There's like, you know, it's all that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like this, me telling you the deets is it takes away some from it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
that's true. That's got hold on, Ron. Just remember when like there was like all the casting
that you find out about as it comes makes it more exciting, right?
Yeah, it always gets shared around. It's like Kenzie just cast as Harley. It's all getting shared around, and they're all like, yeah, it's all part of it.
Yeah, it's like you gotta give him a little bit here and there, and it's good. But I honestly, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think we'll have some stuff that's gonna be like, are you serious?
Oh, can you speak on this? Because this would be really funny if this happened. Is Edward Cullen going to make an appearance in the movie? Because I mean, you know, the actor who's playing Batman is Robert Pattinson. He's very well known for Twilight, and
that's an interesting thing. Actually, you know what's funny? The first parody I ever did was Twilight. New movie.
Was it Twilight?
I was actually Jacob though.
Oh, you were Jacob.
Yeah, I was Jacob. So that's funny. That's actually really funny. That's actually, I don't know. Maybe that's an idea. I don't know. That's an interesting idea.
Were you going to say something, Rhino?
That was that was one thing that I was thinking. I was like, oh, it would be really funny if like in Axel's movie, if like in the trailer, the part that me and you, Lethal, we love so much when, you know, the guy, the henchmen are like, who the hell are you supposed to be? And then he starts beating him up. If that was like Edward Cullen, you know, and just started beating up Edward Cullen. I thought
that's actually a great idea.
In the Captain Marvel parody, there was a couple of lines that threw a little bit of shade at Brie and the production of their movie. Is there anything in this that you can kind of say? Is there any like sly little digs at anything, or will we just have to find out?
Knowing Axel, there's a chance.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, it really depends. It all really depends on what the movie's like, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like, you know, and depending on when we make it, when it gets released, how it works out, like the time we have, you know, what we see, you know. So I mean,
how far along are you now with yours? How far along are you?
Well, it'll definitely be released before award time, 2020, the 2022 awards. So I would say we'd probably be released by November 1st.
Do you know when you're shooting? When you start shooting, or you started?
Sometime next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it'll be released before. Will it be released before the Batman movie comes out? Then
I would imagine that's the plan.
Yeah.
If it is, I mean, what is the Batman movie supposed to be 2022?
Yeah, it's been delayed. That movie being delayed, does that affect you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's interesting.
I mean, we'll see.
Well, again,
it's really more of an Axel question.
Yeah, I suppose with the way Axel is with, like what you were saying, he's a comic book fan and everything. He's just doing his own adaptation of the stories that he likes about Batman, and obviously bringing it to the screen in the parody that he wants to make. I suppose it doesn't need to necessarily always rely on the actual movie coming out, the blockbuster coming out.
No. I mean, yeah, we don't. I mean, it does give us a little wiggle room when it's already released, so we can actually like play around with some of the stuff maybe we did or didn't like. And I think at this point with Batman in general, there's so much material. Like there's, you know what I mean? And like, I just find it to be like, I mean, it's such a big net, you know what I mean, with Batman, which is, I think that's what's so amazing about Batman. I mean, there's so many renditions of him. There's so many different ways he does. It's so many vibes to him. It's like it's cool. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's one of those roles and one of those kind of places that you can just make it your own. I mean, there's always we're not looking for Robert Pattinson to play a Batman we've already seen. We're not looking for that, right? We're looking for him to do his thing. So that's why I'm coming in doing my thing. I'm not going to come in there and imitate Christian Bale. I'm not imitating. I'm coming in to play. I'm going to be Bruce Wayne and be Batman. Like I'm going to be my own Seth Gamble's own version of
nice
Batman. That's awesome.
So I feel I've done a lot of videos on Batman, on the Batman movie, and I feel like I've had to really dig around for a long time for like spoilers, behind the scenes footage when they're shooting in Leavesden and when they were shooting in Chicago, and I've had to like do a lot of digging and find spoilers from people that are on set and stuff. And Axel like has access probably to, insider information, possibly from what Liesel's told me. I don't know.
You said it on the podcast.
so does he know like how, or does he know some spoilers and that was that make it into the movie?
I think he'll have enough. I think he knows a couple things.
Oh, very cool.
I would imagine he knows a couple things.
It was interesting the way he announced it, because there was DC Fandom with all the news and all that type of stuff, and then the Batman trailer dropped, and we're all like, "Holy crap! That actually looks this might be really good." And then about 10 minutes after the trailer comes out, Axel's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm also doing the Batmans." There's definitely something going on there. Yeah. But you're also not just Batman; you're Bruce Wayne. How are you approaching?
I'm actually more excited to play Bruce Wayne than I am to play Batman, to be honest with you.
Yeah, why's that?
Really?
Because Bruce Wayne is this like such an eclectic person. Like he's so, I mean, it's just he's such a dark, like he's such a really traumatized person. You know what I mean? Like he's super traumatized, you know what I mean? And like I can kind of relate. So it should be really interesting to dig into that. And I just think that with Batman, playing Batman itself is a very physical role. It's very it's intense. It's it's all the things, vengeance, it's all these things that are Batman. With Bruce Wayne, it's very introspective, very calculated, very and I just find that to be like where you'll really see the emotions shine through the acting is with Bruce Wayne. With Batman, I feel the same way. I just feel like when it comes to the emotion of the whole character of Batman, it's like you really got to get to know Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? And like especially when you get that close eye view of him, because it's like I think if you take the characters around Bruce Wayne and you see Bruce Wayne conversing, what Bruce Wayne is actually going through internally is what brings you into Bruce Wayne, right? So a lot of the things that when you see him talking to to anybody as Bruce Wayne in like a party setting or whatever it is, he's coming off as this philanthropist, rich guy that's like, but yet there's this dark side when he's with Alfred where like you get to see the depths of the layers of the character Bruce Wayne, which makes Batman. I think that's why it's so integral. I think playing Bruce Wayne is the more I think that's the deeper part of the role.
That's interesting. I think Kevin Conroy summed it up the best, where he said, "Batman's who he is. Bruce Wayne is the mask."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting to run out of time here. But when did you realize you were a good singer?
It's pretty good.
It is really good. It is really, really good.
Good.
Have you always been able to sing?
Yeah, I'm not like I would say I definitely could use some training, but when I was a little kid, I sang in like I sang at talent shows and stuff like that, and I was like I actually started a budding rapping career a couple of years ago, and I recorded like a whole album and I never released it, but
Oh, really?
yeah, because I used to do that as a kid too, but I don't know, I liked it. I mean, I'm okay. I'm okay singer. I wouldn't say I'm no I'm no Justin Timberlake or anything like that. Whatever.
Well, you have played Justin Bieber, so
I have. But yeah, no, I definitely I enjoy singing. It's fun.
I just wanted to ask you one quick question. I actually asked Kenzie this question when she came on. Have you had a situation in a public scenario with a fan who's any funny stories in regards to a fan noticing who you are or realizing who you are or anything like that? And
well, it's been an interesting change in the way that works, right? So like 10 years ago, if I got recognized, it was like a really annoying stare, and you didn't know why someone was staring at you, right? And you were like, because like it was just a different time.
yeah,
Now a person will just walk up to you at a freaking dinner table and be like, "Yo, man, look, I've seen all your shit." And you're like,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, nothing too nothing like up close and personal too crazy. I've had people like be respectful about it, and like when I used to, I'd be out vaping or smoking a cigarette when I used to smoke, and them come outside and be like, "Hey, man, I just like want to say like I've seen you."
Are they mainly men that come up to you?
I've had a few girls here and there, but I don't know. It's I think that's kind of like, yeah, I've had women come up to me too, but yeah, most of the time it's a guy being like, "Yo, I've seen all your stuff." And I'm like, why are you watching all my stuff? Like,
that's funny.
Thank you.
That is funny.
Oh, that's so good.
Go.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
I think what we're going to do now is we're going to watch this clip with you, and you're in this clip. We want to see how you react to this. We all think this is something amazing. Like this Steph, when she saw this, she couldn't stop smiling. Do you remember filming this particular scene?
What's up?
Do you remember filming this particular scene?
I do. Yeah.
Let's play. I think the chat's going to love this as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
There he is.
There he is.
Summer loving and epic fail.
She spread her legs.
Ready for me. Met a boy, limp as can be. Dry humping away.
That's Riley Reid.
Yeah.
What a horse. Such a horse. Such a horse. Such a horse.
Such a horse. Did you get it right?
She bent over, arching her ass.
We were kissing. He
I ate her out. I nearly drowned.
He was soft, jerking around.
Summer lust, always a must. But all those sunburned thighs. What a horse.
Such a horse, such a horse. Did you tell her the split?
Such a horse, such a horse. Did she swallow or spit?
It turns softer, that's where it ends.
So she begged me to fuck all her friends.
This is so ridiculous.
What a whore. Her throat was deep. Summer lust, kind of a bust.
And here's the truth.
But
So sunburned
Yay!
That is so good.
absolutely fantastic.
Written by Axel Braun.
He did the lyrics.
He did the lyrics.
He did the songs.
Wow.
Wow. That's actually another question. Have you ever actually improvised any of your lyrics and had them be used, or has it all just been?
I mean, I've definitely I've done it with dialogue. I mean, I would say the one movie I improvised singing was we did a or rap or any type of lyrics would be I did a movie for Joanna Angel once that was like a making the band kind of deal or whatever, something like that, and like I was sitting there playing a piano and Joe was just kind of like riffing off different lyrics and saying different shit. That was the one time I kind of did something like that. But generally speaking, you know, when we did that, me and Axel and some of the cast, we went into a studio and recorded all the songs and stuff like that. So it was like cool.
That is so good. That is so good. And Steph's like the biggest Grease fan you'll ever meet. And I showed that to her and she was like, "Oh, that's just amazing." It's so good. Would you ever do another music one like that? One that's inspired like that? Because I always thought a Blues Brothers parody would be pretty funny.
No, The Greatest Showman.
I think that'd be amazing. I think I definitely couldn't do the Blues Brothers. I don't look like those guys, so I definitely, if there'd be other guys that could do it. But yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
You could do an Elwood, I reckon. You couldn't do a Jake. You could be Elwood. You couldn't be Jake though.
I mean, I probably could make it work. I pretty much can morph in anything right now at this point. I mean, you're Luke Skywalker to Batman. It's kind of a weird transition.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that I can go that range is kind of mind blowing to myself. But yeah, no, I would 100%. I mean, I'll take on anything that comes my way, especially if I have some passion for it. We're actually going to do another parody-esque thing, hopefully coming up this year that I'm really excited about that I can't speak about, but I think you guys will be pretty stoked on it. There's something else I'm doing, that I'm pretty excited about. So.
Awesome.
That's what Axel did. Axel was like, "You guys are gonna like what I've got coming up." And they're like, "Can you tell us?" No.
Yeah.
No. Well, it was the Batman.
It's gotten even better because, like, you know, obviously he's now become head of production for Wicked. So
I saw that.
Yeah,
that was
a lot of
right.
things are in the works. So it should be pretty amazing. You know,
No.
they couldn't have a better guy in charge.
I agree. Very bright future. Does anyone have any more questions, or I'm going to start reading off?
No, get to the super chats because I know we're going to wrap up soon.
Yeah. Steph, did you have something?
Do you guys have to go, or is like, you know, is there a bedtime or something?
I've got to be on another one of these things in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
To talk about video games at 4:30 in the morning. Steph, was there something you were going to ask? You were going to say something?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, actually, I did want to talk. I did want to ask.
Are you wearing the Batman shirt?
I am. Yeah. I figured it was appropriate for this stream.
Absolutely.
Oh, one more thing. The one perk about being me being Batman over Pattinson is I'm actually jacked.
We're gonna have quite a bit. We're gonna have quite a bit to clip out of this.
Shade.
I'm gonna tag you on Twitter.
Right.
Oh, when we got
Man.
Axel on, he tagged Brie Larson. That's fucking funny.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
He's awesome.
Well, everything he said was true.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, sorry, Steph.
I totally forgot my question. So
Yeah.
feel free to read the chats.
When Seth showed his guns, she went, "No, I forgot now."
No, that was so funny. God.
All right. Some of these, in general, some of these are directed towards you. So first of all, there is Jade Shadow. She was on the one with Kenzie Taylor, and she sends love hearts to you, Steph. I mean, it's not to Steph, to Seth. Seth.
Oh.
Jeez.
We could share. That's fine.
Well, there's enough there to share. Thank you, Jade Shadow. And then we have Snowder. What's up, man? He says he's still looking for his kangaroo. It's been on back order since 2019. Thank you very much. Yellow Flash. What's up, man? He says, how does Seth feel about the Outback Steakhouse? Also, is he a fan of Foster's beer? That's an Australian.
I was
thing.
a fan of Foster's beer, and I grew up eating Outback Steakhouse. I had a prime rib with a baked potato, salted with broccoli, every single time I go to, and a French onion soup every single time I go to Outback Steakhouse. Wow. But I am 100% sure there is better versions of real Australian food in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably really enjoy. I know that's not like super authentic.
Yeah, there you go, Flash. And then Flash after that, he said, Seth, would you be interested in doing a Crocodile Dundee parody?
Yes, I would actually. That'd be kind of funny. Actually, I'd probably have to dye my hair blonde, which I'm kind of not. I wouldn't be too excited about. But I mean,
that's not a cock. This,
especially since I'm not a big wig guy. I'm not a big guy with wigs. So they look like shit.
Orange Chat says, "What was your favorite character to date to play?"
Well, parody wise, definitely Deadpool so far. I'm sure Batman will supersede that.
Deadpool. You probably can't answer this one. It's from Daniel because the character of Batwoman is a lesbian, and Daniel says, "Is Seth going to turn Batwoman?" So I guess he can't say because we don't even know she's in.
I don't think that wouldn't be even if that was. I wouldn't agree with it. I mean, I think that kind of takes away from the realism of it. I mean, I know that it's still lesbian. But, I mean, it would be kind of like, oh, look, that happened. But I would just say, let's keep it where it's at. It's 2020. We need to keep it real. We can't go there.
Stunning and Brave Megatron says, "I like boobs." So do I, man.
I mean, I can agree with that. They're pretty great.
Yeah.
That's just an objective fact from Megatron right there. Yeah. Daniel says, this is when you were talking about Hollywood. It says, it doesn't matter if the world has seen your soldier. Chris Evans is still getting work. Did you see that when Chris Evans' dong picture leaked? He accidentally leaked his own dong pictures.
See, okay, so I want to clarify something there. When you're a mainstream person and you do something adult based, it looks like, ooh, look, they're being risque. That's just the way it is. It's always been that way. When I do something, I'm a dirty porn star. That's just the way it's always been. Yet I would like to be part of changing that narrative. So,
well,
that's right.
I saw
that. I agree. If he can be doing it, there shouldn't be a problem.
I saw the picture that leaked, and well, I didn't think it was anything worth bragging about.
Well, ever since we've had Axel on, we've had Kenzie on, we've had you on, you're just normal people. You just I know that there's that narrative out there, but you are just 100%.
I agree. And I said, I put the work in my town. I'll supersede it, and we'll let's push forward at this point.
Yeah.
And I think if 2020 has done anything to Hollywood, it's kind of turned people off to it.
Oh, for sure. It's been an interesting year.
Yeah. It's exposed, Hollywood's exposed. So it's, yeah.
Which is weird because if you're out here or, they've been exposed, except now it's more exposed, like internationally exposed. You know what I mean? So, it's like an ongoing joke. People in mainstream do dirtier stuff than we do every day.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
It's kind of like an ongoing, trend.
I believe that. And one thing that really fascinated me was Hollywood people are kind of douchebags. They're very rude to their fans, which is bizarre. But then, we have you come on, we have Kenzie, we have Axel, and you guys are all just like, yeah, you guys are cool. You want to talk about comic books? Let's talk about comic books. Whereas they just get very preachy, and you got to think the way they think, or you're just the worst person to ever exist. It's almost like they're not human.
Interesting narrative, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of makes you think.
Have opinions anymore, and we can't be critical thinkers anymore, and we can't. It's like this really insane thing, or you have such an opinion that's kind of crazy. So it's
Where are we at? Culture Casino. He sends a unicorn sticker. Thank you very much, Culture Casino. Roger just sends a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Roger. Oh, you're gonna love this one. This one's from Daniel. Okay, we got to give you some context to this one. So Daniel says we need to get Seth to bat his eyes at Lyndon to get him to talk. It didn't work with Kenzie. So we do actually have this clip because Lyndon's known for not being a very talkative guy. And we had this magical moment when we had Kenzie on.
Lyndon, do I have to bat my eyelashes at you? What's happening?
Actually, that might help.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's
Hey, that's perfect.
Oh, wow.
They're going to be clipped together and put out into the internet. Send it to the internet.
And our last one was from Biggles. He says, "What's your favorite song to sing from all the parodies?"
Oh man, I don't know. They're all fun. I mean, the one I really truly sang was Grease, but it's so those were all great. But I like the Cha Cha one. That was the one.
Yep.
Oh, big Cha Cha, you really want to move?
Oh, that's fucking fantastic.
Awesome.
Now, apart from the Batman coming up, do you have anything you want to promote? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to share?
What is that?
Coming soon.
Signature Cox.
Where will that be available?
It'll be announced at Amway, and it's coming soon. Yeah, other than that, man, everything is gonna have press releases that are announcing anything I'm doing. So you'll all be updated. I keep it kind of going that way. I have some cool projects in line, and obviously with COVID and everything like that, we've kind of taken a little. Right now, we did December, January. We've kind of taken a little slow down time, and then we'll amp back up. So
awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. We've had an amazing show, especially this has been a fantastic way to cap it off. Once more Batman stuff comes out, gonna have to get you back on. We're gonna have to, especially after the first part comes out, we're gonna have to analyze it, break it down, give you our full thoughts on it.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming on. We truly appreciate it. And everyone in the chat, thank you so much for being here. I'll re-upload this on the archives when I get a chance, probably very, very soon. So again, thank you so much for coming on, Seth. This has been absolutely fantastic. Any final words for the chat?
I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me. Grateful to be here. And yeah, man. Find me on Twitter at Seth Gamble XXX or Instagram at Seth Gamble PS or onlyfans.com/Seth Gamble XXX.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming, Seth. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great talking.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Can't wait for Batman.
Yeah, very excited.
Can you give us one line? Either an I am Batman or an I am Vengeance. Give us something.
Yeah. I am Vengeance. I am Batman.